Welcome to my channel. My name is Jessica and today I want to talk to you about functional neurological disorder. So this is a condition that I had never heard of before until I was lying in a hospital bed, completely unable to move my legs and being told that functional neurological disorder was the cause of it. So I feel it's really important to kind of try and raise a little bit of awareness about this disorder and the different ways that it can affect people, because it's something that I'd never heard of before, and yet my doctor told me that it's surprisingly common. Disclaimer right at the top, I am not a doctor, please keep that in mind. This is all information that I gathered from what the doctors told me and also from a website that my neurology consultant recommended, which is www.neurosymptoms.org. I will put a link in the description to the website that my neurologist recommended, so if you are interested in functional neurological disorder, hopefully that will be a good starting place for your own personal research. I'll start with an overview of what functional neurological disorder is. So FND is when somebody has neurological symptoms such as limb weakness, blackouts, spasms or pain, but there is no physical damage to the nervous system. Instead, the symptoms are caused by a problem with the functioning of the nervous system. So a useful anecdote that my neurologist told me was to think of your body like a computer, and there's an issue with the computer, it's not running correctly, but there's nothing wrong with the hardware, so it must be a software issue. Sometimes FND is dismissed by people, and just because the problem is with the software rather than the hardware doesn't make the problem any less real. I'll now dive in a little bit deeper to look at some of the symptoms of functional neurological disorder. So primarily I'm going to be talking about limb weakness. This is because that is how the disorder affected me. I had weakness in both of my legs. I couldn't move them at all to start with, not even wiggle my toes, and I slowly had to relearn how to walk as my brain had forgotten how to do things automatically, such as standing or walking. So it can affect people in different ways in terms of limb weakness. It can be one limb, it can be all of them, and it can come on and off, or it can be a consistent thing that then gets better over time. Situations where functional limb weakness can occur are in 5 areas. So it can be caused or result from an injury or severe pain. It can also be the result of an illness that causes lots of fatigue, such as CFS. Another cause of functional limb weakness is when you wake up from an anaesthetic after an operation, and in this particular case the anaesthetic hasn't had any negative effects, but instead the cause of the symptoms is the altered brain state in the process of waking up from that anaesthetic. Another situation that can result in functional limb weakness is after a panic attack or dissociation. And then finally, sometimes there's absolutely no correlation to any of these things and it's out of the blue and we don't really know what triggered the start of the condition. And I resonate very much with this because my leg weakness came completely out of the blue and there were none of these other triggering factors. Other symptoms can include dissociative attacks or seizures, but these are non-epileptic. So in these cases, the problem is with the functioning of the nervous system rather than electrical activity in the brain. There is also spasms, fatigue, pain, and many more symptoms. It's a really wide-reaching condition and can affect patients in a lot of different ways. Finally, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about treatments. So step 1 is to understand your condition. And this might sound really silly, but it's incredibly scary when some of these symptoms arise all of a sudden and you don't know what's going on or what's causing it. And really truly understanding your condition is a big part of accepting it and moving forward and being able to carry on with your life and get better. When I was sat in my hospital bed and I didn't know what was happening to me, it was so comforting to research and find out more about what exactly was causing this and find hope in that research and understanding of the condition. The next thing is to work with physiotherapists. So this will vary depending on which symptoms the person is presenting. For example, I had weakness in both of my legs and was unable to move them to start with. So I worked with the physiotherapists in the hospital that I was at, and with them I relearned how to walk and just recreated some of those pathways in my brain, because as I said previously, my brain had forgotten how to do the automatic things, so I had to retrain it to remember which pathways to follow to move my left leg and then to move my right leg. So working with physios is really, really important and really helpful for recovery. Obviously, like everything, you have good days and bad days, and it can be so hard to keep going when you don't feel like your body can take any more. But honestly, I would say just keep going, because there were days where I thought there was no way that I would be able to get my legs to move, and yet with the physiotherapist support, I managed it. The final treatment that I'd like to talk to you about is psychiatry. So many people fear that the recommendation of talking to a psychiatrist means that the doctors think it's all in your head, but this is completely not true. Your symptoms are very real and very valid, but sometimes talking through a condition with a psychiatrist can help, because it's a lot to process. It's really terrifying being ill, and processing the emotions around that is incredibly important. Another reason that a psychiatrist can be important is because they can help you to identify things in your life that could possibly be exacerbating the illness. For example, stress. It's no secret that our mind and our body are interconnected. Everything impacts everything else, so it just makes sense to treat your body and your mind at the same time and make sure that they're both working as well as they should be. So to conclude, this is a very strange condition that can be really frightening and scary and can affect people in so many different ways. But if you are suffering with this, you're not on your own. I am here too, and it will get better. That's one of the incredible things about functional neurological disorder, is that because there isn't any physical damage to your nervous system, it means that you can make a full recovery. You can get better, and you will get better. It just takes a little bit of time, and I'm here fighting it alongside you. So I hope that this video has been informative and it can help somebody out there that might be suffering with FND, or have a relative or a friend who suffers with FND and they just want to understand it a little bit better. So thank you and goodbye.